Hi everybody, I'm Susan Wagner, and on this Mustang Monday we are celebrating a small victory. And as everybody knows, small victories lead to larger goals that we're trying to achieve. And some of you may remember, this is Onaqui. Onaqui is a Wild Mustang mare who was captured in the Onaqui Mountains of Utah in July of 2021. She was one of approximately 300 Wild Mustangs who lost their families and freedom on that day. Now, the one thing that's so upsetting about her capture is that her estimated age at the time that she was captured, which was a year ago, was 16. Now, the BLM has had horrible policies for decades, but now they've really reached a new low by taking an animal this old out of her home. What they have typically done in the past was, when they found an animal this age, is to return that horse to the wild. But unfortunately, because they are systematically destroying the viability of the herds, I assume because they want all the wild horses and burros off the range, she was captured, and that means a tragedy. So she was put up for sale. I mean, I hadn't even known that they were having online BLM auctions. She was put up for sale and sold for $185 for someone from this part of the country. And luckily for this mare, a woman named Jen Rogers, who's a professional photographer and who also does eco tours of the herd management area in the Onaqui Mountains, tracked her to find out how she was doing. And the person who had purchased her had put her in a round pen and had her isolated for 2.5 months. This is a mare that had babies. She was the head of her band because Jen had followed her band and knew all about her. So she knew that she had lived wild and free, leading her band throughout that area of Utah. And then suddenly she was a prisoner. So this person had her in a round pen, isolated. It must have been torture for this poor girl, because it must be almost like being on another planet, being taken away from the life you've always known, and then suddenly being thrust into captivity. You know, we have 3 other Mustangs here, and even though they all had to be rescued from very bad circumstances, when they were captured, they were a lot younger, which kind of makes them easier to handle. This mare has never been touched by humans until the day that she was captured, and her experiences have not been good. So at any rate, Jen was following this mare and found out from the person who purchased her that he no longer wanted to keep her, and there was a real danger that she was going to be going to Canada, to a slaughterhouse. So we heard this story and said yes, we would take her. So the only good thing about her being in a round pen is that the person that had her was able to get her onto a trailer, and she arrived here on June 4th of this year. Now, Onaqui is probably our biggest challenge in terms of wild horses are concerned, because as I mentioned, the other 3 who we have here are much younger. So this really ugly number of 7292 was around her neck. And this rope is pretty strong, so if she were to get caught on something, she'd probably get badly hurt. I hated seeing that number on her. I hate seeing numbers on anybody, whether it's a person or an animal. People who have studied World War II or had great-grandparents involved in World War II in Eastern Europe, you know, having numbers on people and animals is something that is very disturbing. And so I'm not saying that I'm going to make this part of my permanent wardrobe, but I will say that I'm a lot happier having it on me than having it on her. So the little victory was getting this tag off of her finally, and she actually let me do it. It took me a couple of weeks of just being able to touch the tag, which she wouldn't allow us to do when she first came. But while she was eating, she would let me touch the tag, and then I was able to, over a 3-day period, unwind it through these, it was sort of put through holes on the back of this thing, this iron clip. And I was able to each day get it through unwind it a little bit each day until it finally fell to the ground. So that's, like I said, it's a little victory, but it's going to bring us toward hopefully being able to gentle this poor girl. On Saturday we had a trainer come out to work with her, someone who is experienced with Wild Mustangs. Hi, sweetie. Let me see. I think I have something for you. Yeah, did you like this? Come on. She's getting better already. But our goal for Onaqui is for her to lead her own little band here. But in order for us to do that, we have to be able to work with her. She's extremely intelligent, and I guess that would be the case for a Wild Mustang that leads a band. There's something very special about Onaqui, because even though she's gone through this horrible experience of being uprooted and taken away from her family, she seems to be okay. I mean, I'm horrified that we're still doing these roundups. And I might add, back in the fall of 2004 was when a disastrous bill called the Burns Amendment passed, which basically privatized wild horses and burros. And that legislation was attached to a bigger bill moving through. So there was no way to stop it, and it was attached before anybody could do anything about it. So that was the start of the beginning of the end. And then in 2019, another horrible governmental policy was instituted called the Path Forward, which sadly was supported by some animal welfare groups. And our new Secretary of the Interior, who I was hoping would have gotten rid of the Path Forward, has agreed to allow it to stay, as convinced by Representative Chris Stewart of Utah, which is where she's from, who happens to be one of the biggest horse slaughter proponents in the United States. It's a very sad state of affairs, and I'm hopeful that over time our current Interior Secretary will change the policy and get rid of the Path Forward so that we don't escalate these roundups. That's what's been happening. They've been escalating the roundups. They've been doing horrible reproductive techniques on the mares. None of this is doing anything except destroying the herds, the viability of the herds. And, I hate to say it, but if this keeps up, there may be a time where wild horses and burros are gone from the range completely, which I think is the agenda of some of the special interests in fossil fuel and in welfare ranching. We do what we can, and Onaqui has become our latest ambassador for wild horses and their plight. But she is, as I said, extremely unique because of her age. It's going to be a bigger challenge than the others that we have here, but we're up for it. And every day when I see this awful number, I will think about the others that still have the numbers on them. I wonder how many from that 300 plus herd that they rounded up a year ago. I wonder how many are still alive. Because if they took out a lot of older animals, chances are, unless they're willing to do the kinds of things that we're doing and what other caring people will do, I don't know if those animals can survive. It's very, very sad, and it's, there are no words to describe what an American tragedy this is, but Onaqui is a survivor, and she's proved to us she's, I think, up for it, and so are we. So I will be back in touch with other updates and progress as we continue trying to gentle her, and it will be a great day when we are able to turn her out with other horses here at the sanctuary. That's it for now. Thank you.